And we're live on the air now with Brooke and myself, Don. And we're talking about Dr. Mao's latest book, Live Your Ultimate Life. And based on the five personality theory of traditional Chinese medicine and Taoist philosophy. And today, looking at a section of the book called Chapter 7, Mind Health, the integral mind, intellects, emotion, and intuition. Okay, so Dr. Mao points out that your mind health is cultivating the integral mind, which balances your intellect, emotions, and intuition. And most people, which I agree, overly develop their intellectual minds and neglect to nurture their emotional and spiritual minds. So, and I think that's kind of a Western thing where, you know, we all are encouraged to go to school and learn all the book learning stuff and intellectualize everything versus the more Eastern tradition where you don't pay so much attention to that, to the neglect of your emotional and spiritual minds.
I agree.
Okay, so Dr. Mao says mind health is also about transcending emotions and resolving any entanglements. And again, in the Western thinking, it's kind of like the emotions are everything. You know, oh, we got to pay attention to our emotions and express our emotions and all that kind of thing. And I think the Eastern philosophy is more of kind of moderating, in a sense, your emotions so that you don't go to the extreme highs and extreme lows.
Yeah.
And then trying to what he calls resolve any entanglements, which I guess could be among your own emotions and emotions of others around you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so of course he points out, which we probably all know, that emotions arise when your expectations and belief systems conflict with reality. Yeah, you know, I mean, we've all gone through that where, you know, we expect we are owed something, or you know, I worked hard and I deserve that, and
Mm-hmm.
get mad or something if you don't quite get what your
I
expectations.
I
Yeah.
definitely I can think of a different thing that's very similar to that. I mean, I guess I can only speak as a Westerner. You know, we associate ourselves with our emotions. Our emotions we consider is ourself, and we kind of don't look past those emotions and beyond our emotions. So then, same kind of thing where we take, since we associate with our emotions, and if some, and we want to be special because of our emotions. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
You know, so then, you know, we come across, well, I'm allowed to be angry, I have to feel, we start labeling that we should be feeling certain ways when certain things happen, and that's where the intellect and the emotions come in, and we completely negate those, the other deeper things that are happening. So yeah, I completely agree with that, but it's hard to differentiate.
Yeah. Well, and of course it's, you know, what Eastern thought and Dr. Mao called our conditioned mind, which is, you know, based on the conditioning theory and psychology, where we're all conditioned to do certain things from, you know, early childhood. You know,
Yep.
certain thing happens, you are trained in a sense and thought to behave in a certain, react in a certain way,
Yes.
which it's so once we become trained monkeys in a sense, it's pretty hard to change that without some deep thought about that.
No, absolutely. And it's something I think about with my children. Like, how do I in help them see past those? But then on top of that, living in a world that still admires all those other traits. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do I battle against all the kids at school, all the other parents, all the school things and behaviors and social behaviors that they're being learned versus, you know, what I'm trying to teach them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the kind of the $100,000 question. How do you do these things? Especially since our mind is, in a sense, relying on what we learned, 10 years ago on how to do these things, which may or may not be the way to go.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know about you, Brooke, but I've been, doing meditation for many years and recently doing it a little more seriously. And I find that is a tremendous help because it's in a way it's actually rewiring our mind or my mind by being calm and not being overreactive when you're meditating, of course.
Yes.
And so the neuroscientists are pointing out now that in fact the way we think or the way we meditate actually changes the connections in our mind. So
Yeah.
that may be very well a kind of a, in a way, a shortcut to changing all of our previous emotional reactions and so forth.
Yeah, I've been actively meditating since I'd say August of this last year, and it has been unquestionably helpful to me. And just recently, within the last 2 months, if I don't meditate, I'd say at least once a week, but I like to do it longer. But if my life kind of gets in the way and I haven't meditated that week, I see a drastic difference in the way I can handle things, in my reactions to things. Um, so, I mean, it has just pushed further home that I need to meditate. And you just reminded me, I should ask Dr. Mao if I have a chance how to get kids, how do I start my children with possibly small little meditative things to do to help them starting now instead of having to learn this stuff as adults. Wouldn't that be, I need to look up some information. I see these little Buddhist kids, meditating, and like, I wonder how you get to that point.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Now that you mention it, I don't know if there's any literature on bringing up children and how you go about doing that. I'm almost imagining somebody's thought of that, but I've never really looked. Maybe you could write a book on how to bring up children.
I just need the information. I mean, I know they have children's yoga, which is super cute, but not quite meditation. But I guess that would be a form of meditation. Maybe I could start that.
Yeah, well, that's true too, because of course in Dr. Mao's book, he says on the next page, which is 157, the I Ching inspired development of practices like Qigong, Tai Chi, and meditation as ways to cultivate a calm and peaceful mind. And I know in my area, which kind of even surprised me, that martial arts is very popular for very young children. I am amazed. And of course, that's a like you say, it's a form of meditation and discipline. Yep. So maybe that's the way traditionally kids are brought up, doing the little martial arts or Tai Chi or whatever martial art you want to do.
Yeah, my son does jujitsu, which it isn't my choice of martial art, but it's his. And I'm just so grateful that he's even starting. I mean, he's only 6, so I'm just grateful he has put his foot in the door, kind of thing. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm already on the path of helping my kids.
Yeah. And then I guess theoretically there's some way of incorporating that training into his daily life. I'm not exactly sure the technique, maybe, once a day have a little 1 or 2 minute conversation about some subject that would relate to the martial arts and how you would apply that to your problem solving daily life or working in school or whatever.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited now. See, this one conversation just gave me tons of plans.
Yeah, and of course, in the Eastern traditions, like in Dr. Mao's family, the 38 line, 38 generations, I'm sure they've worked that out to a fine point on how to bring up the kids, especially the eldest son who is to carry on the tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised Dr. Mao, if he hasn't already, has not written a book on bringing up children, because he, of all people, he and his brother would be experts on that subject, I would think.
Hey, I get help. I get rights for that.
Yeah, right. You
Actually,
should get royalties on that one.
I do know his father has written about giving birth, you know, fertility and all of those things. But yeah, actually, I don't know if he has written anything. I'll have to, maybe I'll have to ask him.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm glad you brought that up this morning, because I hadn't really given much thought. And I was a teacher for many years. Of course, when I was teaching actively, I wasn't into the Eastern philosophy, so it didn't come across my mind. But looking back, if I had to do it all over again, that would be a serious question I would have to give some thought to, as I was teaching thousands of students over the years. Okay, well, let's look forward in the book here on the next page, 158. Let's see, he's talking about freedom from emotional entanglement.
Oh.
We've all been there, haven't we?
Oh, yes. Do you want me to read?
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Just pick out something and go right ahead.
Emotions are a natural part of life that communicate and express our inner world. See, I love that right there, because sometimes I feel like we go from one extreme to another where we're trying to block our emotions. We don't accept them and just learn how to rationalize, or not rationalize, but, you know, work with them. Understanding your emotions can help you to improve and grow, but unhealthy emotions can also block you from seeing the truth. You may be oh my gosh, genius when it comes to helping others solve their emotional problems, and yet paralyzed by your own. Boy, don't we know that, where it's easier said than done, you know, when we give people advice.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that reminds me, being a teacher for so many years, I always felt, well, my role is a teacher. So if anybody makes a comment or says something, well, I should just teach them the right way. Of course, I didn't know the right way. I just thought I did. So, well, in a sense, I was a music teacher primarily. So rightly, when I'm teaching students music, I could correct them and tell them, well, this is the way it should be done, da, 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 da. But then I extended that to everything. So if somebody says, well, I'm a Democrat or whatever, I would say, well, are you sure that's the right way of thinking? I had an opinion on everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the emotions would get involved in that on both sides, me and the other side. And so you end up in some argument, or at least some discomfort over the discussion.
Yes. Let's see. This is because you can be a detached and objective observer when you analyze other people's issues, but often lose the objectivity when you are in the midst of experiencing your own upheaval and turmoil. Healthy emotion comes from healing past traumas, as well as full acceptance of yourself and others. It provides the vehicle for self-discovery, deeper connection with others, and a richer life experience. And I definitely can attest to that being true just in the last couple months.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead to the next page, Brooke, where he's pointing out, and I kind of asked Dr. Mao that similar question on that idea of balancing the various 5 elements.
Yes.
Because it seemed only natural you would do that, but it seemed to me in reading the book, it wasn't really. Well, I guess maybe I just glanced over the page quickly, and so didn't catch that you need to balance those 5 elements.
Yeah.
By the way, were you able to take that test that I think might have been done by his brother that showed your score on the different 5 elements, so you could compare which ones you were the most of and least of?
Oh, I did do that, and I was fascinated because I wasn't a water element. My top element wasn't water.
Uh-huh.
And so that was fascinating. And
Yeah.
Actually,
And I think my computer might have messed up here because I lost you while you were talking there. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're still there or I'm not there. Um, okay, let me just listen. We're gone about 20 minutes, Brooke. So if you're still hearing me, I'll just go ahead and end the this live broadcast today, and then we can meet up next week. But I'm not sure if my computer messed up or your end messed up. It's hard to say, but so I don't even know if I'm being recorded. But anyway, so let me stop this broadcast now. We've been talking with Brooke and myself about Dr. Mao Shing Ni's latest book. Okay, now you're back.
oh
Or
yeah,
maybe not.
I was
Okay.
wondering what happened.
Yeah, for some reason about, I don't know, about a minute ago, I couldn't hear you anymore, and then your video froze, and then I just started talking, not knowing whether you were still there or not. Were you hearing me or
No,
at
I couldn't
all?
hear you. I couldn't hear you either. I was like wondering what had happened. I didn't know if your video had gone out or.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Of course, I have a very slow internet connection here, so if anything messes up, it's most likely going to be on my end where the computer messes up. Um, but I was just saying we've gone on about 20 or so minutes now. Do you want to just end this live session today, and then we can meet up again next week and continue on?
Sure, that sounds perfect.
All right, and then I'll expect you to have a book written next week about raising children.
Yay! I'll see what I can do. Maybe I could do a blog or something on it.
Yeah, well, I would bet you would be very popular. It's pretty easy nowadays to, write little blogs and put your ideas on things and see if you get a following to have a conversation about that. That would be very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll close out this live broadcast on Dr. Mao's book, Live Your Ultimate Life. And we'll do another one next week at 11:30 on Sunday morning. All right. Well, thank you very much, Brooke.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week. Have a great week.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.